something that I was afraid of going in was is combat going to be something I just want to skip?
Listen, let's take a step back and talk about that. So last week we saw the announcement of storm sword fighter form, and I
Yes.
remember we also mentioned on last week's episode that we had seen your discussion in the Discord on Zelda Dungeon, how you were all for the sword fighter form and wondering why you couldn't use it all the time. So like, let's get your take
I'm
on that.
I am totally understanding of the fact that they don't want to give the sword fighter form to you right away where
Mm-hmm.
you can use it anytime as long as you want. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I think something that uh, one of our writers, Sean, and me were discussing was it would be great to have an upgrade late in the game where you could just use it whenever you want. Because the way I play, especially Link's Awakening or Link Between Worlds, um, I beeline to the next place I want to go. And if there's an enemy on my way, it's very uh, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's very convenient to just hit B, slash the sword, make it go away very fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's just streamlined. So I
Yes.
was afraid I would have to stop, spawn an echo, wait for the enemies to uh, do their business, clear the path for me, and then keep moving. It seemed very cumbersome. It seemed like a hassle. So I was excited about the sword fighter form. If I was just trying to get through the game quickly for whatever reason,
Yeah.
having a sword would be very nice.
Yeah.
It seemed like the game was taking options away from me in the spirit of giving me more options. But
Okay. Yeah, that's a take.
after seeing the game and having more, like one playing it and then seeing more of the game and some of the echoes that you'll have available to you, I don't think combat's going to be as a big hassle as I thought it was going to be if I'm smart enough about it.
Okay.
Um,
And that's something we've also encountered when we've done like Ask Me Anythings or anything about Echoes of Wisdom. Some people were concerned with the combat being maybe boring or too much of a hassle because of the echoes. Like, how do you
yeah.
feel after playing it?
So it was charming at first because I mean, okay, Allison, you're playing Zelda. What's the weakest Zelda enemy that they could possibly give you?
I don't know, like a a rat or a keese.
So they give you a Zol, the little slimes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That is the first echo, monster echo that you have access to, at least in the
Okay,
demo. And I assume it's going to be the same in the final game because these guys are weak. They take one hit, they
yeah.
cost one piece of power to use as an echo, so you can spawn three at once if you want,
Mm-hmm.
But these guys will go down like it was charming and funny because I had a Zol echo. I spawned it. Another Zol was fighting me, and these two Zol jump at each other and killed each other. So
Oh
it's like
gosh.
that's a funny story, and I feel like that made me think, okay, there's going to be a lot of little funny moments that are like for me. Those are my stories to
Okay.
tell from Echoes of Wisdom. So that
Yeah.
set me at ease a little bit. But Zelda is very passive.
Okay.
She doesn't have a direct attack right away. There's a spin attack that you have, but it's not. It doesn't do damage to enemies. I think it's
Okay.
generally there to create distance between you and the enemies you're fighting if you get in a pinch.
Uh-huh.
It also cuts grass, so that's nice.
Oh,
But
good. Doesn't cause damage but cuts grass.
yeah, yeah. So I think they want you to utilize the echoes at first, and obviously, it's gonna get a little stale if you end up just spawning a moblin and waiting for the moblin to do your battles for you. But
Mhm.
something that I learned is the game is exciting as you make it. So
Yes.
if I'm
Yep.
fighting a few Zols on the beach, I could spawn a Zol to kind of be there to shield me from incoming bad guys. But at the same time, it's like I can spawn a pot, throw the pot at the enemy. I could spawn a rock, do that. Later on, you're gonna get access to a bunch of stuff, so you're gonna be able to pick up an Octorok and use it to shoot,
Mm.
boulders out of its face. Or
Mhm.
I saw like those spinners that you see in Zelda games with the blades on them.
Yeah.
You can ride that around.
Yeah, we saw that in the trailer, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like mobility is not gonna take a hit if you're being smart with your echoes. And I think that's the main thing. They want you to experiment. Find the way to play that is most like conducive to you. So for me, I want to get through the overworld very quickly so I can just get to the town and do something. If I want to do that, I'll hop on the spinner and zoom past the enemies, or we'll get that horse.
Yeah.
I'm sure the horse will be very helpful for doing something like that.
You
And
make
then
echoes of
for
carrots, I think.
yes, yes,
I think that's really exciting. And I think that's something that Andy and I have been trying to like carefully say the last few weeks is that no, combat won't be boring, but only if you make it so.
I think so. That was my hope coming out of the demo. I was like, okay, this seems like it'll still be a lot of fun. Just it'll be a different type of fun than what we're used to as far as combat goes.
Yeah. And I
I want to
think
talk about puzzle solving in a second, but go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that I think it's really exciting all the connections that as you're talking that I'm making to Tears of the Kingdom because again, the exploration of that game is only as fun as you make it because of your builds. But also what you said about the Zols like attacking each other and it made me think of all the fails that we've seen from Tears of the Kingdom with people's builds or with fighting or whatever. And it was something that was just so funny, especially when it took over TikTok because I'm a big TikTok fan and I'm on there all the time. But like now I'm excited to see that with Echoes of Wisdom and people's like fails with echoes or like with enemy echoes and whatnot. I'm so excited to see like that experience that you had with the Zols, but like, everybody else's different little experiences or like because you could take videos on your Switch, all the ones that I'm gonna be like saving on my Switch. So that's something that's actually got me really excited that even in fails, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And there was an extended demo that some outlets got. They played for a few hours. And they played from, I believe, where I started to the end of the first dungeon.
Okay.
So that's what they had access to.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen some of the footage from those demos, including the dungeon boss that they got to play, right?
Okay.
And we've seen it in trailers. It's the big rock monster with
Okay,
the
gotcha.
two
Yeah.
hands. Um, I have a feeling you're going to be able to confront that boss in several different ways. It's like, yeah, you can spawn a single dark nut to fight on your behalf because dark nuts. I believe this has been kind of shown in trailers and in descriptions of the game, but you have a set number of echoes that you can spawn at a time, and every echo has a number value attached to it. They're represented by little triangles.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at Try, your companion, he's got a tail of triangles.
Okay.
And those triangles represent how much power he has available to him for you to spawn echoes. So, lesser items like the table or the bed, those are 1. Those cost 1. A Zol cost 1. Moblins cost 2. And then Dark Nuts cost 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you start the game with 3 power. If you're fighting this boss, you can spawn 1 Dark Nut to fight with you, costs 3. And then maybe hop into sword fighter form, and now you're both just wailing on this boss. Or you could be a little more creative. You can maybe set some those sea urchins from Link's Awakening, the little spiky guys.
Yeah.
Maybe plant 3 of those around the boss arena, and while he's spinning around, he hits one and falls over, and then you can go to town on him with your sword fighter form, or you can throw pots at him. I think there's going to be a lot of variety on how to approach combat encounters based on what I've seen.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. And that was the hope and the idea that I was getting from just the initial trailers that like yeah, what they've shown us has been pretty simple, but I think it's going to be like it's definitely going to be a lot more variety and a lot more fun than what we've seen.
Yes.
That's exciting.
That is how I felt about combat. Something that I was really heartened by was how it deals with puzzles, right?
Okay.
So in some of the underground areas that I explored in my demo, they're very like obviously the game, just like Link's Awakening, you have like the top down sections, and sometimes you go underground and it takes a side scroller view.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of a little dungeon underneath Hyrule Castle that you use both. You use the side scroller view and the top down view, and some of those rooms where you can feel the classic Zelda design at play, where all the puzzle solutions felt very deliberate and thought out. And unlike a game like Tears of the Kingdom, where some of those puzzles, there was an intended way to do it, but easily you could just pick something up with Ultra Hand and walk it over to where it needed to be. And it was like, that was the puzzle. One of my complaints about Tears of the Kingdom was I felt like a lot of the aha moments from past Zeldas weren't in place.
Okay.
Instead of aha, I usually felt, huh, Yeah, I guess that worked.
Okay.
You know,
That's fair, because like you could have done it the way the game intended you, which sometimes is obvious, but then you could have just done it like finagled it all on your own, and you're just like, okay, yep, that worked.
yeah. And this game had the aha moments that I was looking for.
Okay.
In some of the rooms where it's like there may be multiple solutions on how to get through the room, but each of them felt like I was solving the puzzle. Like they thought through, okay, here is the challenge the player needs to overcome. Um, we're going to give them 3 different solutions depending on how they approach it with their echoes, but those solutions are very, we thought of them ahead of time. They
Mm-hmm.
are solutions to a puzzle that we created for the fans,
Yeah.
for the player.
And so
And
you
that
feel
was
like a genius
that
when you solve it.
yeah, that made it feel like traditional Zelda to me. And
Okay.
I was very happy to see that. And having seen some of the, having seen some of the playthroughs of the dungeon, it seems like the dungeons are going to be the same way. Where, yes, there are going to be multiple ways to approach certain challenges, even in a dungeon, because it's confined to 4 walls, and there's a little bit more of that craftsmanship towards how they constructed the dungeon. You're not going to just be able to break the game, and just use the physics to, lift yourself up or something like that. It's like there's still that brain teaser, solution oriented design philosophy at play, which I like.
Okay. I like that too. I always that was something I really appreciated in Zelda games before Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where I felt like once I finally solved the puzzle, I felt like I was so smart, even though it was literally designed that way. And sometimes in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, when I could solve a puzzle in clearly a way that is different from other people, I still felt that way, but like it was a different type of feeling. Like it was like I feel accomplished because this is something that I thought of. And while that's still gratifying and good, it is a little bit different than what we feel from solving puzzles in Zelda games. So if that's how I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly, I'm excited to see that kind of return. And like we still have the freedom, but it's still taking us back a step a little bit into the Zelda dungeons and the puzzles that we know and love.
Yes, I think they are trying to strike that balance where I think Tears of the Kingdom was too far on the side of, like you said, I feel accomplished for getting through this, but I kind of did it my own way. Like I didn't like.
Which it sounds funny that we're like, why? How dare we have the freedom to solve problems our own way?
Yeah, but it's like we don't feel. I didn't feel tested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was sort of like. It's hard to articulate that feeling sometimes, but I think classic Zelda, especially the top-down Zelda games, like there is a design cleverness that I've always appreciated. Like I feel like a smarty pants getting through Oracle of Ages. You know what I mean?
Very true. Yeah, very true.
I did not feel the same type of challenge in a game like Tears of the Kingdom, where a lot of the time it was how can I manipulate the physics of this area to, get to the end.
Mm-hmm. I think what was the feeling I liked more from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild is like watching. I had this was years ago with Breath of the Wild. I had my brothers come on stream and play through Breath of the Wild together, and it was so interesting to watch them do things that I'm like, that is not how I thought. I didn't even think that was possible because I did it this way, and they're just like, what, why? And then like it was interesting to see how different it was. And I feel like we will still get that feeling from Echoes of Wisdom, but we will still get the very accomplished, we solved the puzzle they set out for us in like old Zelda.
There's that balance, and I think based on what I've played and what I've seen of the early game, they are doing a very good job of striking that balance.
Okay, that's exciting.
Which makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm. I think that'll make a lot of people very happy. That's my guess.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.